As far as I can remember, I've always had a great love for the Eucharist. I remember actually when I was a kid, and my parish priest, as I was preparing to become a server, taught me about genuflecting before the tabernacle. I remember him telling me about Jesus' presence in the tabernacle and how important it was to genuflect reverently. Of course, what I couldn't remember always was which foot to genuflect with, and so my mom used to have to mark my right shoe, so I would remember that was the knee to put down. But actually, it was when I started serving Mass that I already experienced something about being close to Jesus in the Eucharist. Fundamentally, it was that experience of being close to Jesus in the Eucharist that led me ultimately into seminary and to want to be a priest. But an interesting thing happened for me as I was actually preparing for ordination to the priesthood. It was a couple months before I was ordained a priest, and I started to have a question that entered my mind. And the question was, I've always believed in Jesus' presence in the Eucharist when someone else consecrated the Eucharist. Would I believe when I was the one to consecrate the Eucharist, when it was the bread in my hands? And I can honestly tell you that the day I celebrated my first Mass, which was the Feast of Corpus Christi, 1997, when I took that host in my hands and I said those words of Jesus, "Take this, all of you, and eat of it, for this is my body given up for you." And then I raised that host up, and then I set it down on the paten, and I genuflected. I had no doubt that I was genuflecting before the Lord of all the universe, the one who created me, the one who knew me, the one who was worthy of all adoration. This wasn't just my faith. This is the faith of the Church, the faith of the Church for 2,000 years. We believe that on the night before Jesus died, he gave us his greatest gift, the gift of the Eucharist. And he told us that night to do this in memory of him, and we have always tried to be faithful to that gift. But we have to acknowledge that faith in the Eucharist in this moment of our history is in crisis. In fact, we all probably saw the Pew study that happened in 2019, which showed that something less than 30% of Catholics really believed in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. Even more disturbing in that study was it said that 22% of Catholics claimed they understood the Church's teaching on transubstantiation, but didn't believe it. We have a lot of work to do in order to be able to repair Eucharistic faith in our church. Right now, we know disaffiliation from the church is at an all-time high. We know that more than 75% of people don't even go to Mass every Sunday. The Eucharist is in a state of crisis, and we have to do something about it. This is why the bishops of the United States are beginning a Eucharistic revival. They want to begin to light the fire of Eucharistic faith to affect every level of the church. This is why the bishops of the United States have written a document on the Eucharist entitled The Mystery of the Eucharist in the Life of the Church. What I want to do in this course is explain to you that document. It's written in really two phases, the gift and the response. And I want to explain to you the great gift of the Eucharist and what our response is. And I hope that by participating in this course, you will want yourself to be part of this Eucharistic revival. You'll find your own life of the Eucharist enlivened and find yourself with a great desire to share it.